In today's video, we're going to actually be taking a look at some videos that Skylum released highlighting the Relight AI tool. There's 3 videos. It'll give us 3 different circumstances of portraits, and you'll be able to see how the tools work, what the sliders look like. I don't think this is going to be the final presentation of what the user interface is going to be, but I'll point out a few things to you, and hopefully this will give you some ideas if Luminar Neo is right for you. Hi, my name is William Beem. I'm a photographer just like you. Let's go ahead and take a look at my desktop and I will share these videos with you. All right, so I've got a number of videos here. These first ones are just kind of like little teaser things and almost like commercials for some of the tools. These last 3 over here where it says Relight AI 1, 2, and 3 are the ones that I want to talk about today. The idea is looking kind of at the sliders that we have, the situations of the portraits that we see. And why don't I just go ahead and open up the first one, expand this, and I'll walk you through each of these. So starting off, we have a woman walking through a nursery. Obviously, there's overhead lighting. You can see she's in shadow. You can also see the direction of the light because there's a lot of light on the flowers that are over here and is very much in shadow over here. One of the things I like about the tool is that it keeps that direction of light in mind as it's making its changes. So a couple of things I want to point out. Up here, it says Luminar AI. I think this is just what they're working in as they're developing the software. This is a feature for Luminar Neo. Over here under Creative, you see a new tool called Virtual Flashlight. I don't know if that's going to be the final name of Portrait AI, but that's what they're showing in this particular example. And we have 4 sliders: amount, far, dehalo, and depth. And we'll see those in action. The dehalo in particular, I think, is something that's going to be needed because as they do some changes with the amount slider, there is, on some photos, a halo effect that needs to be corrected. And the depth is kind of looking like from closest to the front of the lens to furthest back. And the amount far seems to kind of, quite honestly, I don't know what it does. It makes things darker in one of the images, but we'll take a look and see for yourself. So let me go ahead and start this video up. So as you can see, they're starting to move the amount slider, and this seems to be working on the portrait subject. So you're going to see how she's brightening up as they move it over, but also keeping a look to the sides of her. It's keeping the shadows, even though it's opening them up a little bit. And the dehalo, if you see around her hair, you can see where that's working. Now the depth is going to move and brighten things towards the background of her. And it just kind of opens up this whole photo where now it's a bit more usable. So here's the before and after. So if we look at these flowers, I love the way that they look, in the sunlight. We see much more light on her face and on her clothing, but it's graduated. So we know that there's more light over here. There's less light over here. So these plants look like they've opened up a little bit, and we've opened up shadows on her blouse or dress, whatever she's wearing. I don't know. I'm not a fashion maven, but it looks natural now. This is an example of a photo that I previously probably would have thrown away. And now I think you can actually do something useful with this. And of course, we haven't touched any of the other tools yet. We haven't gone through Accent AI. We haven't gone through any of the portrait tools. This is just a matter of fixing the lighting. And so Portrait AI, I don't know if it's going to be called Virtual Flashlight or if that's just a development code name, but that's what we see in the first image. So honestly, I think that's really well done. This is a photo that I would have thrown away. Let me slide this back up to the front. That's what we had. I would have looked at that and I thought, trying to change the exposure in just the right places, you might have used a graduated tool. I don't think you would have gotten it just right with that kind of tool. This is doing fine touches. You can see as we move this over here and how it's working on her hair, and you can see the masking. It is primarily on her, but there's also a little bit around her as well that's getting a lower amount of lighting. And you can see the dehalo tool right here. If you look on her hairline, you can see how it's fixing the problems that were created when you added the amount to it. So overall, I'm really enjoying this. So there's our before and after. Let's take a look at number 2. So this one is going to be a video of a photograph of a woman who's in some kind of tunnel. I don't know if this is an escalator and we see that going down. Lighting conditions aren't very good. You can make out, you can identify the face. It's good to document her, but there's no detail in the hair. And you can barely see her hand down here. You can't see anything below that. And even the lighting on these little tunnel walls is not very good. So again, we're going to see the changes made over here with a virtual flashlight. Same sliders in all of these videos. So let me start this up and we'll take a look. So they'll start off with the amount. I think on her hair, you're going to see more issues that need to be corrected with the dehalo tool because of, basically the fluffy hair that's going on. So as they're bringing up the dehalo tool, if you look around the edges, you can see where it's working to try and correct that. And this is something you slide and adjust to taste. Now, here's the amount far. And as that moves back, you can see it's darkening the background. So it kind of really presents her in there, to my opinion, too much. But then as you add depth, you're changing the lighting again on the background. So I'll be honest with you, I am not really sure about the differences between amount far and depth. But if you can see the before and after, we've taken something that was in shadow and made it a useful photo. But also you can see that it's opened up in her hair. You can see detail in the strands of her hair. And if you look back here, the lighting behind her kind of matches and works with her in this environment. And let's just go ahead and bring this over all the way. So we started off here, and this is where the amount came in. Again, you can see how it's targeting her, not just her skin, but also everything about her clothing, her hands, her hair. And now we're getting the dehalo. So as I pull this up, you can see there how the dehalo is changing things. And at certain parts, it doesn't look that great. To me, that would look like a bad cutout. But as they move along, it kind of blends in those edges. And she looks just like she belongs there. So let's go ahead and bring this up a little bit further. And this is where the amount far comes in. And you can see it's walking the light backwards. So up here is where this little bit of light was, and it's kind of walking backwards as we move along. So I want to bring this back and just show as they're pulling that down, it's darkening that background. And there are certainly times when you want to darken the background of your subject to help them stand out more. And then we come down to the depth, and you can see that that's kind of changing the lighting behind her and surrounding her. So there's almost a little bit of a halo there. And as they pull that up, it's almost like a spotlight effect behind her. So I think this is our before and after. And, whether these are to your taste or not depends on your photo, your subject, and what your preference is. But I think going from this over to this makes for a much better photograph. So let me go ahead and close this one out. All right, of the three examples, this one is my favorite. Again, I want you to watch these walls and the background and also the foreground here as we go through some of the changes that they're going to be moving with on the slider. So let me start the video. So they're starting with the amount and pulling that up. And you can see on this one, it's definitely adding more light to our subjects in the front and the foreground, so the ground that they're on. So it's done a great job there. Now they're bringing in the dehalo, and that's kind of affecting, as you can see, around the edges of the two young boys. So watch amount far. As they pull this down, it's going to start darkening things around the top of the scene, and the glow of the light seems to come a little more. But when they bring in the depth, watch the walls, and it just kind of walks the light further back. And I think that is just amazing. It is change. It's not like a vignette. It is changing things pixel by pixel, and you can see the before and after. So you can see where it's really relit the scene from where the light was to where they want it to be, and that directs your attention to your subject. And like I said, this particular one was my favorite. So let's pull this back. So we'll start off right here. And you can see the shadows on the young boys right here and the foreground. So as we bring up the amount, that's really changed it. But also take a look like in this corner and this corner down here. As we bring this up, it's lighting that area. It looks like there's candlelight going on there. Whereas when the photo was taken, obviously that was in shadow. So it's revealing that, but it's doing it in such a way, you can see on the edges over here where this is dark and there's no detail at all. It's very interesting about the way that it's doing it. And I just really like that. So now we're going to go into the dehalo, and you can see as you move that slider up, it's affecting kind of the outline of your portrait subjects there. And then when we get to the amount far, we're going to start to darken things down in different areas. And you can see at the top, so right over here, as we bring this down, it really takes those statues down and out of things. And as we bring up the depth, then it starts to change the lighting pattern again. And I find that just really interesting and fascinating. So this is our before, and this is our after. We've got the light where we want it on our subjects, and you're not drifting off, way up here where there's really nothing to pay attention to. So as I said, this one was actually my favorite example of all the examples that they gave us in these videos on Relight AI. So I'm hoping that they do call it Relight AI instead of virtual flashlight, but you know what? That's okay. This is pre-release software. You can see that it says Luminar AI. This is technology for Luminar Neo. And I can't wait to use this on some of the photos that I've never shared before because I screwed up when I took them. I hope that was helpful for you. It gives you a little bit of a preview of what to expect with Luminar Neo. If you are interested in buying Luminar Neo, you can use my link. It is williambeam.com/Luminar Neo. And if you do that, I will give you the course that I'm going to develop for Luminar Neo that covers all of the tools in all of the different sections, just like I did for Luminar AI. So that is a bonus offer that I give for anybody who supports me using my affiliate link. Right now, as I'm recording this, there's still a special deal going on. Afterwards, if you see this later on when the price is at the regular retail price, you can use my last name as a promo code, and that'll save you $10. But right now, you're getting discount pricing that's better than what I can offer with my promo code. So that won't happen as far as the promo code being useful until they get to release of the software and it's at its full retail price. So if you're seeing this early, you can probably score a deal. I will give you my course for free. All you have to do is email me at support@williambeam.com. Show me your order number. I will verify that with Skylum. And then once they confirm it, that it was a purchase registered to my account, I will go ahead and email you back and grant you access. If you like this video, please go ahead, click the like button. That tells the YouTube overlords that we did something right here. They will share this with more folks. And hopefully that's fun for everybody involved. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in the next video.